In this video, I'm going to show you the mindset that freed me from short-term pleasure. In today's world, we are constantly surrounded by stimulation. Cheap dopamine like scrolling or junk food or video games fog our lives. But what if the thing keeping you stuck in this pleasure wasn't just laziness? Most of us live on autopilot, drifting into the things that feel good in the current moment. We tell ourselves that it's just a break, but 5 minutes turns into an hour. And here's the secret. It's not just a lack of willpower. There's a pattern behind why your mind keeps choosing comfort over purpose. And until you see it, you'll keep repeating the same cycle. The good news? Once you uncover it, you can finally break free and live in real, rewarding pleasure. Discipline that actually feels worth it because it leads to joy, purpose, and a life bigger than yourself. So how do you start seeing this pattern and start winning over the things that are holding you back? Here are 4 steps that change the way that I fight short-term pleasure so that I can live with a real purpose. Alright, the first step to overcoming this pattern of short-term pleasure is to identify your pleasure traps. The more you're aware of your temptations and your pleasure traps, the easier it is to fight them. You can't fight what you can't see. Most of the time, we don't even really choose pleasure. We just drift into it. So we need to find clarity in our lives, because clarity brings direction, which leads to real progress. So ask yourself, what are your pleasure traps? Is it forms of cheap dopamine like junk food or scrolling or lust? Pleasure traps can be like these, doing unfulfilling things that just feel good in the moment. But they can also be avoiding the hard but fulfilling things. And this is laziness. Skipping workouts, procrastinating, avoiding that hard conversation, or avoiding that next step. So now I want you to write down every activity that brings you towards immediate pleasure in a typical day. I want you to circle the 1 to 3 things that steal the most time and joy out of your life. Actually seeing them on paper makes it harder to hide them from yourself. And these aren't just habits, they're spiritual battles. The devil knows your weaknesses, but once you know them too, the battle is much clearer to win. Alright, the second step to overcoming the cycle of short-term pleasure is practicing daily habits of denial. Just like you can train and grow your muscles by putting them through physical stress, you can train and grow your self-control in order to combat pleasure. Some examples of these habits of denial are cold showers or fasting, whether it be from food or from social media, going to bed early and waking up early, or just spending 10 minutes alone with zero stimulation, just you and God. These habits effectively reset your dopamine levels. Ultimately, in order to overcome the pattern of short-term pleasure, we must reduce our reliance on cheap dopamine. And this is self-denial, denying the cheap pleasure-seeking desires of our flesh. And remember, this is going to be hard. It's going to be mentally painful at first, but it leads to life. Pain is temporary, but spiritual growth lasts forever. Every act of denial is an investment into your future self. Alright, the third step to overcoming the pattern of short-term pleasure is delayed gratification. Delayed gratification is where discipline becomes vision. The pain and denial are investments into things far greater, far more purposeful, and even far more pleasurable than cheap dopamine. We have to seek the joy of real dopamine that comes from delayed gratification rather than cheap dopamine that comes from cheap stimulation. Some examples of this are that you always feel better after a good workout than after an hour of scrolling, even if the workout feels more painful in the moment. And on a deeper level, you must deny yourself of the short-term pleasure and escape of lust before you can have a pure relationship and real intimacy with somebody. Short-term pleasure is not worth trading your full potential for. Deny yourself and your future self will thank you. Alright, the fourth and final step to beating the cycle of short-term pleasure is living for a purpose beyond yourself. In Matthew 16:24, Jesus says that whoever wants to be his disciple must deny themselves, take up their cross, and follow him. We must deny ourselves of short-term pleasure and take up the cross of a greater purpose. And what might seem like purpose through pain at first will become purpose through joy as your heart and desires become transformed. The purpose that once required discipline and tenacity to achieve will become natural as you experience the joy that comes with it. Think about it. The more you love somebody, the more joy you experience when something good happens to them. For example, If you love a sports team, then you probably feel joy when they win. But if you don't really care about a sports team, then you wouldn't really care if they win. And you can only find so much joy by just loving yourself. But if you love others as yourself, you're effectively multiplying your joy. Do you have somebody in your life who it brings you joy to do a favor for? And most importantly, we can experience the most joy by loving God, because His joy is complete. In John 15, 9 through 12, Jesus says, "As the Father has loved me, so I have loved you. Now remain in my love. If you keep my commands, you will remain in my love, just as I kept my Father's commands and remain in His love. I have told you this so that my joy may be in you, and that your joy may be complete. My command is this: love each other as I have loved you." When our self-denial and delayed gratification are linked to a greater purpose, it is much more doable and maintainable to move past short-term pleasure. So, stop drifting, identify your traps, practice small acts of denial, invest in delayed gratification, and live for a purpose beyond yourself. Take action, and when you're in the thick of it, faced with the decision of purpose or pleasure, just remember, no one said it would be easy, but it's going to be worth it, and your future self will thank you.